Let's talk about it.
What up?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm great. I am fantastic.
And I've heard that before. Hey Stephanie, how's it going? Hey Mort, what's going
Everybody,
on?
welcome.
Thank you for the compliment on the intro. It took me all of about a half an hour to do. And Jen, good evening. And Francine, what's up? Again, Mort,
Welcome.
what's going on?
Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Beautiful faces. Beautiful, beautiful faces. So tell me, sir, how was your week? How was your week?
A little busy. Just a little busy.
Really? You busy.
We're in a spooky season. So we've done some spooky things. We're about to do some more coming up in December.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right on. That's great. And did you do any investigations, anything like that this week?
I did. I was actually my team, or a good portion of my team, were guest investigators at Dalton walking ghost tours.
Oh, how did that go? I saw the advertisement, but do tell, please.
Well, there's a little alcove, a little place called the Wooden Deck, where you go and everybody kind of gathers before the tour begins. And I brought a pretty decent complement of electronics, and we set up. I had a periscope. I'm sure everybody probably knows what a periscope is, and then I had a K2 meter set up, 2 REM pods, and a periscope and a K2, and all of them were surrounding us, and they were lighting up like all the time. Even REM pods, REM pods are contact sensitive, so you literally have to break that beam to be able to have it go off, and it would just not on command and nonstop whenever it wanted to, and then it would do it on command, and then it would come over and hit the K2, and periscope lit up wherever it was placed every single time. The place was loaded. We were in that one little spot for about 45 to 50 minutes before we started the tour. Pretty busy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, everybody, as you can see, Richard and I are back. We're pretty excited to be back. We've both had pretty busy weeks, pretty busy months, really. But we wanted to be back with you beautiful people, and that's why we're here. I do not have the same screen capacity as the best executive producer here. So I may not be able to see all your comments. We do simulcast for those of you who are joining us for the first time. That means that we broadcast on different networks. And unfortunately, I can't see all your comments at the same time that Richard can. So we do not want to miss your comments. However, if you have something specific for me, please put my name in the comments and Richard can read it out to you. But I'm not ignoring you. We want to disclaim that we are not ignoring your comments. We just have so many all the time.
I'll have to tell you about one after the show.
Okay. So this week, last night, I'll tell you really quick, I'm really excited. Last night we took some new people up to the hill, to Buck Hill. This is our local haunt that we go to. And we let them have an experience of a table tipping session. And it was very intense, very intense. We had, the table moving, vibrating, spinning, rotating, when the base stayed the same, which it shouldn't technically do. We had some really cool stuff. We had some great EVPs. We had some great light shows happening where some orbs and energies were coming through. And it was so exciting. However, at 3:00 this morning, I woke up to an entity, an attachment that I had brought home from the hill, and it was holding me down. It was holding my whole entire body down, and it took everything in my strength to break free of that. And I ended up having to cast and cleanse yet again. And I woke up in the morning and I had seen this entity's face, and so I put it to my team: is everybody okay? Anybody else have an experience? And another team member saw The Man too and had some similar experiences. So we know that it came from the hill. So I'm really hoping that everybody is safe and cleansed. But yeah, it was a pretty intense experience.
Yeah,
What can you say?
that's crazy to hear. You know, we had a similar experience, negative experience, when we were at our filming Saturday the 15th. We had somebody get jumped. I'm finding out more and more she's a trans medium, and that definitely makes a big difference upon how she should be protecting herself.
Yeah.
And someday, guys, I promise you, we will cover the whole mediumship psychic thing thoroughly. There's so much about it that you really you don't want to forget anything.
Yes.
You know, simply a trans medium. Let me give you the trucker version of a trans medium. Okay, trucker versions back in the day. I don't know how many of you are old enough besides me because I'm 2 days before dirt. But there used to be a time when you had to use a VCR to watch TV and watch a movie. If you wanted to watch a TV after the movie, you had to use the VCR as the go-between. That's what a trans medium is. The trans medium is the VCR. You can't get the spirit activity without the VCR, and you can't get it explained to you without the VCR, so it's the go-between. And sometimes that can be damaging. But yeah, it was kind of crazy. We really, and I've heard of Buckhill. Someday, we'll have to get up there.
Well, it's something we talk about it a lot, but that's our kind of local haunt, and it's so infamous, and there's so much activity. They actually are doing Halloween night. A CBC, which is Canadian Broadcasting Company in Canada, is doing, I believe, a documentary on it, and because it was so infamous, like it is, everybody knows about it. So, we're never disappointed, and the activity is always different. We never ever receive the same activity. So it was another intense night. I just feel that perhaps maybe, I don't know if it's the people going up there. I don't know if it is the experiments that they're doing, or it has to do with an electromagnetic, frequency or field. I don't know why, but I find that we're getting in and out of malevolent energy. Like it's not necessarily happy. So that's it's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, it can be, and you have to be careful about that. I think we need to take more time. I know my team does. We need to take more time of letting me kind of scope the area out before we go in. I didn't have a lot of time with that. You got a director going, "Hey guys, we need to set up a shoot. We need to boom, 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 boom." And oh, by the way, guys, I'm actually allowed to talk about it now. The name of the documentary we are being filmed in is called Finding Purgatory. And that'll be out sometime late January. I cannot yet give out where it's going to be available, but it'll be available on one of the paid streaming services. That's about the best I can tell you. But yeah, I mean, when we get a chance to talk about it, we'll throw it. Oh, let's talk about it. We get a chance to talk about it, we'll throw it out there, and we'd appreciate whatever support you can give it. The director is Deacon Tommy Golden. He's actually a deacon in the Old Catholic Church. He has been on this show as a fan several times. Him and I worked together in the past on other projects, and this one sounds really, really cool. I mean, he's finally going to do, in my mind, for example, and I'm not knocking at the Catholic Church. I was raised Lutheran, which is basically a government-issued Catholic. But he's going to do what a lot of people in the Catholic Church have boo-hooed, proving whether or not purgatory exists. So that's kind of stepping out. Thank you, Nadine. Appreciate it very much. But yeah, Finding Purgatory will be the name of the doc. On my page, you'll see where he has an excerpt in a live video. I'm also going to be downloading the cover art for the film. So, hopefully that'll come out and do something. We've just been really busy. But then we're not going to be able to be here next week, guys. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. Life happens. I have my team is loaded with loving people, and I have my son, my fiance on here, and I have a young man that I call basically my paranormal son. and he is going to be getting married on Sunday. He's also one of my team members, so he's our photo guy on a team, and he's going to be getting married Sunday, and I will not be able to be here for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it, but it's the truth. So we just want to kind of put it out there early, so nobody starts hating me, for that kind of crap.
Sorry, guys, but we have obligations, right?
Right. Hey, Sherry, how's it going? Hey, Marilyn, how are you? Denise, how are you?
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Honestly, thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, thank you again for sharing. Also, to share the show, guys. We've been doing this show now almost going on 2.5 years, and with just Katie and I. And this is the best component of a podcast I've seen. No offense, anybody else running paranormal podcast. Phenomenal. Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Tim, how's it going? Ava, how are you? Yeah, so guys, share this show. Tonight's show, we kind of got off topic a little bit. I apologize. Tonight's show is really all about. God, I think I knew you in another life. Well, Katie and I did. I think at one time we were actually married, if I remember right. Total sense, but we didn't kill each other. So that's
that we know of.
That we know of. Oops. Wow. All right. Well, calm yourself, chick. But it's a lot of. We're going to have some conversation about past lives. We're also going to have some conversation, and eventually we will bring in Tim Shaw. Tim Shaw is, if somebody says, I want to talk about haunted items, we're going to bring Tim in. Tim Shaw is kind of the man, and I have no problem admitting that. He is kind of the dude when it comes down to haunted items. To me, he is the official haunted collector. And I love Zappos dearly. But Tim has dropped some cash on some haunted items, all right?
Right.
Not sure his wife's happy about it, but she'll put up with it for a while, I guess. But yeah, we're going to try to bring Tim in to talk about that at length. But we're going to talk about it tonight. We're also going to talk about a little bit of the do's and don'ts about haunted collectible items, as well as watching out for what you're doing with that. But again, we want to also talk about other lives, other instances, other occasions in life. Yep. Other things you might have been, might have done, might have said. You never know. We're going to bring it up.
Why? The best question is why we reincarnate. Why we reincarnate to the time that we reincarnate in, and why we're with the people we're with, because we reincarnate in groups. And so, it's such a broad thing, but it all goes down into, why we're here, why we are part of this earth at this moment in time.
Yeah. I mean, I've often been caught saying on the show that paranormal activity is cyclical. Mm-hmm. So is lives. Lives are cyclical. I think we cycle through lives all the time. This physical one may pass on, but then you're going to be, for lack of better expression, you're going to be transported into another life. You're going to then mesh. Sometimes you mesh with people you've meshed with before, sometimes you don't. Yep. That's my take on it. I could be wrong. What do you think, Katie? Talk to us about it. You're the expert more on this. This is more your wheelhouse than mine.
Okay. So it's such a broad spectrum. Okay, everybody. It's something that is so big that it's vast. And we really don't think about it. A lot of us deal in the 3D, meaning in this moment, in this time, in a three-dimensional world. And we don't really a lot of times we really kind of think, what's the purpose of life? Why are we here? What am I meant to learn? But sometimes we don't even go that far. Sometimes people, are just used to the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And through my experiences and through my readings with people, I've really learned a lot. Spirit has really channeled through me and explained a lot of things to me, how death works, where we go when you die, and certainly kind of why we're here. And I'm not going to say that I know the end all be all of every reason why we're here, but they have given me a lot of insight as to the learning lessons that we're supposed to learn. You and I have spoken about this in previous episodes about how we're basically in a one-room schoolhouse. and how we are all learning together at different levels, at different spirit ascensions and in our spirituality, and we're all helping each other grow and change and evolve over time. Time being an earth time thing, time being something that we only understand in this plane. There's really no such thing as time on the other side, because we're energy. And so, you know, it's something that is so deep that we could probably do 10 episodes in, but I really think that, you know, we can kind of touch base, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions about, you know, about this, and people having, you know, past life memories, per se.
I will tell you, let's go just open that. Let's go and light that candle. Let's go ahead and ask guys. Guys, do you have questions about previous lives? Recycling energy in life. Do you have any questions about that at all? Because I don't really think that's been a topic that's been brought up in many podcasts at all, honestly.
No.
Well, I could be wrong.
Right. And I think that, okay, on an energy scale, okay, we talk about death and rebirth, and people say when you die, you go to the light, and then you come back down, and you go to the light, and you come back down. But what is not talked about is why. Why are we coming back here? What is it are we supposed to learn? People will say to me all the time, my life is hard. I've had a bad experience, or I'm experiencing a lot of loss. I'm experiencing a lot of, why would God or the higher power, the universal consciousness, Allah, whatever you want to call it, why would that universal energy allow that to happen to me? And it's nothing happens to you in this world. Everything happens for you. And as a human, it's really hard for us to comprehend that, in the sense that, you know, we get frustrated, we get irritated, we get impatient, myself included. When we want to push something, we want something that badly. Yeah. We're here. If let me put it into perspective for you. If somebody said to you, if you want to go down and if you want to go down and experience life for, you know, for a lifetime, and a lifetime meaning a blink of an eye on the other side. Okay, it's a blink of an eye. It's not long. It's like reading a chapter in a book, but to us, it's a lifetime. Right. It's long. You wanted to go down and experience all the different types of emotions you could experience: joy, happiness, sad, anger, you know, regret. Have that experience. Kind of like if I said, here's an all-inclusive paid trip to, I don't know, the Bahamas. You may experience a typhoon. You may experience a hurricane. You may experience snow. The plane might crash. There's a million scenarios that could happen. But here's a free trip. Would you want to have that experience? And everybody's going to say yes. Of course they would. If there's no strings attached, of course I could. That's kind of, in a nutshell, what life is about, in the sense that we're supposed to be bettering ourselves as spiritual beings. We're not humans that are doing. We're human beings, and we're being. Okay? And so in that being presence, we're supposed to be being in the present moment. And so we're learning these lessons of forgiveness and acceptance and patience and all of that while we're here. And so on a spiritual level, we're learning more and more and more. And that's where the one room schoolhouse comes in, because certain people are at different levels. It goes even deeper than that. We reincarnate in groups of souls. We reincarnate into groups of people to learn lessons together. And we determine kind of how our life is going to be laid out before we get here.
We have a lot of content I got to throw up here on the screen. So Robin Swanson said, if we learn what we need to know in these lives, we may move on to omnipotence and create our own universes. That's one comment. The second one comes from Joanne. See, that's where I had the issues. She says, why put the length of grief on myself and my family if we're just basically assuming that we're just going to basically recycle? That would be my thing. If we're going to recycle, why do we grieve ourselves to death over? We're going to come back around one way or the other. Right. So Joanne, I understand what you're saying, and I'm sorry you're going through the grief pattern that you're going through. Grief sucks, and I get it. Hopefully you can heal over time. I hate when people say, "Oh, it'll won't even bother you down the road." No, it always bothers me. It bothers me when anyone dies. It'll bother me for 35 freaking years. Mm-hmm. It'll bother me. It's just depending upon how you try to heal from it. Now, Ava said something interesting, and I really, really understand and get it. She said, I don't feel I am supposed to be here now. I feel at a place not fitting in at all. Now, I think that could be a past life fight or battle. Maybe too much from the past life is coming in now. What do you think?
Well, I think that part of her learning lesson is to realize that there's no such thing as having to belong. I think part of that learning lesson is that really, why are you allowing that to affect you? Right? The feeling of something missing is one thing, and not that there's something off, because a lot of times we have that yearning to go home or go to the other side. So we don't quite feel satisfied.
Right.
But to put yourself in a category where you feel like you don't belong, that's your human brain comparing yourself to the other side, right? To comparing to the other people in society, and you feel that you should be up to part of that. To me, that's a little different. And I think that part of that learning lesson is to be self-righteous in your own right. And I don't mean it in a biblical way. I mean self-righteous in the sense that you're okay with you. You don't, I'm okay with me. So I'll tell you a quick story. When I first started doing readings and doing paranormal, I was really self-conscious in the sense that I was afraid I was going to be judged. I was afraid. I live in a very, as Ava does too, a very biological, scientific thought community. We have biochemists, we have, that's the type of community we live in. And so I was nervous. I was nervous to come forward and explain what I did, because, on a scientific basis, we are pseudoscience, right? It doesn't make sense on a logical scale.
True.
And so I had a hard time with it. I had a hard time coming out of the paranormal closet to become me and to be able to speak my truth and to tell people what I see. But I got to a point where my children got to a certain age, and how can I teach my children to be proud and to be confident in who they are as people if I can't be that person for me? And so I really started to work on me, and I had to learn to speak my truth in a self-righteous manner. I'm okay with me. Whether people believe what I see, feel, hear, taste, touch in a psychic sense and a paranormal sense, that's not my job to prove to them. I'm only here to be the messenger and to tell you what I see. And so I had to come to that conclusion. And that's for the rest of everything in society. We have to remember that consumerism teaches us as a society that no matter how tall you are, or how tall or short or thin or fat or slow or fast, or what size of car you have, or the type of car, or the size of your house, or where you live, or the money you make, is never good enough, because in the economy and society, they want you to buy more, because that's the economic wheel that they put us in. And our human brain gets caught up in that rather than the spiritual sense of things. And so to really compare yourself and to feel that you don't belong is, in my opinion, really your human side wanting to kind of fight over the spiritual side. I say own it, baby. You got to be comfortable in your own skin. You got to do what you got to do. Now, having said that, even though I'm self-righteous in my psychic senses and in my paranormal and as an individual, still go to the beach and parade in a bikini, or I still have self-conscious moments. I'm not, I don't want to be arrogant in that regard, but I think it's really important. You're a good person, and deep down inside, that you do unto others as others do to you. That. And so it's really important to work with that on a daily basis. And that is going to help your spiritual growth.
There you go. Now, Nadine says, recurring dreams. I had a recurring house in my dreams since I was very young. I know all the rooms now from the attic to the kitchen. Do you think this is a past life?
Okay. No, sorry, I was reading. I'm catching up to read. So what do you think about that? What do you think?
I don't know. I think when you have certain familiarities that make no sense, there's a chance of that. Yeah, I think there's a chance that previous data bleeds, and that could be that's just my take on it. I could be absolutely wrong, but I think when you have recurring dreams that just places, people, or things that just don't make sense typically. Mm-hmm. I think that's two lives mashing together that typically wouldn't, right? You talk about all these other things like this in the movies, where they Matrix and all of that, where you don't know what's real, what's not real, what's in real life, what isn't real life, and I would have to say yeah. Again, I might be an idiot, but I'd have to say, yeah.
It's a lot of our misfortunes in life or fears in terms of like heights or drowning or water or flying, those types of things, those recurring dreams of being in the attic, that can absolutely be you having those past life memories, because your soul does not forget. When we come through the descension and we are rebirthed, okay, when we're reborn, we're not meant to remember, because we're supposed to be focused on the task at hand. If we remembered all our past lives, why would we be focused on this one? And so really, when it comes down to it, they kind of wipe the slate clean, give us a little bit of amnesia so that we really kind of focus on our tasks as growing, because we are integrated with other beings. We're supposed to be learning together. So as Richard and I sit here talking to you guys, we're teaching you something, but we're supposed to be learning something too, right? So it's intricate, but that's why we're here.
There you go. Now, Herbie says, sometimes I think that things we're afraid of, like sharks, dogs, etc., are things we might have been in our previous lives, but not always, but many. So things that you don't have a real conscious reason as to what you're afraid of here in this life might have been from fear from the previous life.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm a data person. I am what you learn, what you experience is data. How that gets transmitted in the future can be you can cross wires. And I think that's what happens is you cross wires. Mm-hmm. And, that's kind of why people just go, man, I don't understand that. That's cross wire. And I would actually look at that, Herbie, and I would probably say there might be a chance that sharks suck. I don't care who you are. I don't care what life you're in. Sharks suck. All right, dude. I mean, like things like dogs, etc. People are afraid of spiders and they're this big and that kind of thing. And yeah, you're 1 million times the size of a spider, but you're gonna start screaming like a 5-year-old girl when you try to kill it. And those kind of things maybe again a data leak or a wire. It's easier to think of it as a wire transfer data clip or cross wires.
Right.
Well, we have a lot. All right. All right. So Anthony says we are to fix things that went wrong in our life and family line.
Yes.
Yes. If there is a lineage that went askew, I'm a big believer in you got to make it right. I think that becomes your mantra, your mission in whatever life you're in now, is to make it better before you go. And if you can't, you got to carry it forward.
Yeah.
You've got to make it right. Because again, everything is really kind of and I don't know how many times I've said this on a show, but everything is energy based, right? And energy is consciousness when you pass. That's what's left is energy, consciousness. It's not the physical shell. And that carries on. And do we actually have a shelf life of how long it goes? No, because I have been in some instances where I have had activity from what almost seems to be nearly 1,000 years prior. So does that tell you how long your previous life is going to last and how much further you could carry forward? Nope. It's really just everything just happens for that reason.
Yes, and there's karmic contracts that we sign. So, we pass away, we go on to the other side, we start schooling, we start learning, we go through our life. Okay, so once you die and you transition, you go through your life flashes before your eyes. You learn about this stuff. You either pass or fail in the sense that did you learn what you should have done, couldn't have done, would have done, and didn't do. Okay, and from there. You go back to the classroom and you start learning and you start preparing yourself for this reincarnation. The average reincarnation, on average, I'm not saying to the date, but it's 70 years. 70 human years from death to rebirth. Okay, so it's not to the day, but it's around that time. It could be 68, it could be 60, it could be 90, but it's around that time. Right. So we do the reincarnation, or we prepare, we're writing our soul contracts with who we're going to have our lives with. And it is at that point that we are birthed. People say to me, we talk about soulmates and twin flames and divine counterparts and karmic partners and all of that. And yes, they all do exist. They're all here. We all are integrated together. for the purpose of that learning and falling in love and getting our heart broken and all of that. And so people say to me, well, I've had nothing but a bad string of relationships. I haven't met my soulmate. I don't think I'll ever meet my soulmate, yada, yada, yada. And, that really comes down to you. The one thing that we get to bring with us that is of our own is our own free will.
Yep.
So our guides, our angels, the universal consciousness, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, they cannot imprint free will into our souls. That's what we have. And so part of this learning lesson, people seem to think that everything is set in stone or everything is predestined or pre-written. And that's not necessarily the case. What happens is you have, think of children, okay? You know that at 5 years old, if a child is not talking, walking, sitting up, eating solid food, doing the 5-year-old thing, there's something not right about that child, or there's something special about that child. Or milestones at which we are supposed to meet as you grow from your youth to your adulthood. The same thing happens on a spiritual level where we are supposed to be hitting these milestones, and that is what is written for us. How you get to that milestone is up to you. It's the predetermined or destined method that you get there. So meeting people that you have. So, a lot of times relationships won't work because you're meant to meet somebody down the road, but you wouldn't respect that person if you didn't meet them 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Sometimes relationships happen in order to have children. The only reason is to bring those souls into the world to learn those learning lessons. Sometimes death occurs from a best friend, a partner, a mom, a dad, a husband, wife, and that's to help to teach you to accept death, to move on, to understand it, and so that free will, if you can't get over that death, if you can't get over the divorce, if you can't get over those things or break that cycle, that's your free will. When it happens is up to you, and how it happens is up to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sherry says, so what about deja vu feelings? I've been having a lot of them. And we are piled up with questions, so we're going to
run. Deja vu. So deja vu is really cool. Deja vu is your body's, your higher level of consciousness, remembering what you've written for yourself, only you don't realize you've forgotten because of amnesia. So as I said, when we first started, when we first descend and come into this earth plane at this time for this life, we don't remember because we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to be focused on those other lives. We're supposed to be learning for the principles of the things that we didn't learn in the last life, or we didn't understand, we didn't break the cycle, we didn't overcome. So they implement that deja vu because it's really your higher level of consciousness, your soul being going, okay, I'm at the right place at the right time. I encourage you not to question it. A lot of people mistake deja vu with premonitions. They are not the same thing. Okay, deja vu is that consciousness. A premonition is a futuristic event to come. So really be careful. You're saying that you're having the deja vu moments, but make sure that it's not a futuristic event or tapping into different timelines.
Okay. Next one is, can one choose to stop the reincarnation process?
Yes. Yes, you can. So as far as I understand it, now I'm not the end all be all. I don't know everything about everything, but as much as I have learned and I've understood, there are ways that you can break different karmic contracts. When you're done, you're done. And at that point, usually when you graduate reincarnation, when you have learned most of the stuff that you're supposed to learn, it is at that point that you become a guide. So we often talk about angels and guides and guardian angels and stuff like that. Guides are people, human beings that have finish the reincarnation process on this earth plane, or the many earth planes, timelines, dimensions that we live in, and we are now helping from the other side, kind of like little micromanagers. We kind of guide you or push you in the right direction.
Okay, so that kind of answered two questions, because that was Francine's question sort of as well, so that's good. Georgia said, Katie, is reincarnation just human returning as human? Wondering about our pets and reincarnation.
So we only, as far as I understand, we only reincarnate as humans. We don't cross reincarnate. I'm not going to become a dog or a bird or a horse, although I'd love to be a couple of those to experiment, but that doesn't happen. But we do, our pets do come along with us. Our pets do reincarnate with us if we so choose. a lot of times people will say to me, you know, my dog died. He was the best dog I ever had. I got a new puppy that looks at me the same way. Is it the same dog? A lot of times it's not, because of that time period. There would be no learning lesson involved if it was the same thing. The universe doesn't want the same thing for you. So very rarely is it going to be the same pet coming back again. Okay. It does happen, but it's a rarity.
Okay. Marilyn said, I heard our soulmates have been with us in our past lives.
What do you think about that, Richard?
Don't even get me started.
Yes, to answer your question, soulmates don't have to be husband and wife. They don't have to be lovers. Okay, soulmates can be best friends. Soulmates can be a mother-daughter or sister-brother. Soulmates are one of the same souls. Now, there's twin flames, which is basically one entity split into two. There's divine counterparts where, they're divinely brought together. There's karmic partnerships. So there's many different forms of it. And, it just kind of depends on the situation. But yes, you've heard of the 6 degrees of you've heard of the 6 degrees of separation, which means at any 6 degrees, you'll find somebody who knows you or knows of you or through you, or you're related. The same thing kind of happens on the spiritual side.
Now, Stephen writes in, thank you for coming into the show, Stephen. I think it's the first time you hear. Stephen says, how can empaths lower their emotions? Everything seems to be multiplied by 10, and it's overwhelming more often than not. All right, I got to coin in on this one for a second. I have had experience with a lot of empaths. I'm around a lot of them on my team. 3 on my team out of 8 are empaths. And here's the thing. Here's the way I equate it. You don't have any real way to lower the emotional impact. I've got people who are empathic that can't even go to conventions. I know of people that can't even go to a grocery store because they're that highly impacted by it. Mm-hmm. You have to look at yourself as an empath. You look at yourself as a dry sponge. Now you just got dropped in a puddle. It's like it sucks every possible energy in, and then it winds up sucking all of your life out. Like, it's kind of one way of transference of emotional value from one spirit to another, living or dead, because you can feel the emotion of a spirit that is a person who is deceased, a spirit. You can feel that emotion when you're investigating as an empath. I've had many people crying for no reason. I've had many people laughing and being really happy and giddy for no reason. I thought maybe they might need some meds, but no, they were good. Is this really? It's hard to watch. We do a program called the Human Pendulum a lot when we did our tours, and I had one gathering, and I'm going to pick on the ladies for a second. I had one gathering of ladies that were on our team that were with me. They were all female. Everybody on the guest list was all female on my side of my group, and we did a Human Pendulum. There was not a woman in the middle of that Human Pendulum did not weep her eyes out for no reason at all. No reason other than the human connecting to the emotional side of the spirit to be able to communicate. That's how deep that connection was. Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, 96% or 95% of empathic people are females. So, to my ideal, because again, they operate on the emotional side of the brain, they become, I don't have a better expression, but they become the target. They do. Women become the target more often as well when they're a psychic medium. They become the target of emotional transference when they're an empath. Yep. I mean, please stop me anytime I'm wrong, Kitty, but it's just kind of one of those things where, I had a really horrible experience happen for one of my teammates Saturday night last, and that and I hate saying it's never going to happen to me because that's not true. It might at some point. You never know. But it was another female who we're now kind of idealing as possibly a trans medium, and and that has its own measures of regard you've got to put going forward into an investigation. So if you're empathic, Stephen, God bless you.
One thing that you can do, if I can chime in, picture Richard had talked about the sponge and the dry sponge in the puddle. Now, what if you were to, in your mind, take that sponge and put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it into the puddle? Doesn't matter which way you throw it, doesn't matter how much you toss it around. It's not going to get wet because it's protected. What you really got to do in your mind for stuff like this is really imagine a bubble of light, a Ziploc bag, whatever you want to call it, around you that protects you. And you're only going to allow the energy in that you will allow in. Okay, what you get to make the rules as to what you want in. That's going to help to dial down what you're going through. It's going to help to kind of release some of the worries that you have, the anxieties that you have, because it's going to help to calm that stuff down. It may not stop it completely, but it's really about how you push your energy back out as to how you're going to receive it. You have to understand that there's empathic projectors and receivers, and some are both. You've all heard of the term energy vampire, where some people just suck the energy out of you. There's empathic projectors too, where they can walk into a room and make somebody else feel upset or happy or sad or scared. We all have the ability to give and receive, but some of them, it's more predominant. So you have to ask yourself, if you're having a hard time absorbing this stuff, I would tend to think that you're more of the receiver, and you have to put that bubble around. And instead of asking it not to project to other people, ask it not to climb onto your energy field.
Right. And again, it's really a matter of monologue, guys. You have to learn your monologues, because monologues are what controls, or at least hampens some negative activity, but can control a lot of what goes on around you. Tosh said, when I meet people for the first time and I shake their hand, I either get a good vibe or a bad vibe, and 9 times out of 10 I'm right about the feeling it is. Sometimes it drains me when I get bad vibes. Okay. Yeah, energy. Okay, energy. People give off energy, and energy has a tendency to breed energy. So when you're making contact with a person, it's that energy is felt through them. You can put 2 hands together, and eventually you're going to feel that there's some kind of a force between the 2 hands without touching it. Mm-hmm. That's the energy you give off. You're just sensitive to the energy. That's what's going on. And it's good. I mean, it's really designed as part of the body's defense mechanism. All right. To me, in my ideal, it's part of the body's defense mechanism that is going, hey, you might not want to get too involved in this person in any capacity because there's an issue. Mm-hmm. And that may also be your guides helping you along the way with that too. I mean, guides are weird, because I'm going into the next one of that. Amanda says, are guides with you all your life or only when needed? You're always needing guides. You're always needing guides. There isn't an opportunity when you're going to have, forgive my language, there isn't an opportunity in your life, spiritual or otherwise, where you're going to have your shit that well together that you're not going to need spirit guides. Mind you this, quite often.
Right? Yes. Mine would say, like, really? Like,
really? Right now? Really?
Yes.
But you're going to have those all the rest of your life, because somewhere along the line you need someone to help do a job for you. And that's really what the spirit guides are there to do. Some had specific jobs. I've had that interaction with people before, where the spirits, their guides had specific jobs. Mm-hmm.
And guides change throughout your life. You will have lifelong guides, but as you progress, there's other ones that step in. Okay, there's other ones that kind of step in and help you out through your time. So, don't look at it like you're stuck with one forever. And here's another thing: you have the ability to fire your guides. You have the ability to say you're no longer serving them if you don't feel like you're getting what you need, or they're not talking to you the way you think they should, or expressing things. And it's you that kind of manage them not managing you. They're only there to guide you on your path. They can't make you do something. That free will, that's the free will that kind of, they can't make you stop drinking, make you stop drugs, make you stop gambling, you have to overcome that. That's part of the learning lesson you have to overcome. But what they can do is put things in your path that make you question or want to make that change or deviate the course of fate in order to help you and guide you to breaking that cycle. It's really, really hard. I know that guides get frustrated. And here's another thing. We do not thank our guides enough. We don't thank when that deer ran across the road and you almost got hit, but you didn't. When, your child chokes and, it came free, or that miraculous surgery happened, or the person, didn't die at that moment. A lot of times that's our guides at work. They're helping us and guiding us to the right opportunity. And, it's really important that you sit back and give thanks, because you're going to notice that when you heighten that vibration and give thanks, they're going to be helping you more.
No, that's true. Now, Francine said, so it's my previous soul that gets to be reincarnated or a new soul?
No, you have one soul. One soul. And think of it like your eyes. That's why they say your eyes are your door to your soul. Your eyes, you get one set of eyes, okay? Yeah. They age with you. They get to see and witness your life. They are your channel to whatever you're doing, okay? And I mean, for those people who are blind, I got glasses too, but I'm not talking in a literal sense. I'm talking in a metaphorical sense. It's guiding you through your life, and you see things before you do things. Okay, that's what your soul is kind of connected to. It's the energy.
All right. Wow, it's a lot of information about the subject, but it's a good subject matter. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's kind of take it and dip our toes into the pools of haunted items.
Okay.
Are you okay? Are you with me?
I'm with you. I'm looking at all these comments. I'm trying to keep up. Sorry, guys. You see me looking down. I'm trying to keep up with comments at the same time, because I know there's so many.
Good luck. All right. So let's switch gears. Let's talk about haunted items for a minute.
Yes.
I've had a lot of people that have sent me messages, and I will get the occasional, "Oh my God, Richard, I can't believe this happened." Just let me start off by saying, as the guy in the field pretty often, don't take anything home with you. Please don't take anything home with you. We had people that are professional collectors of haunted items, like Tim Shaw. Just leave it to him. Just tell Tim, hey, come down here, pick this up. Don't do it. It's really, really tough. I have had people who have done, like I did a location once that had, somebody had found a flathead nail. Now, flathead nails were done back in the 1800s. They used flathead nails to put wood together. And somebody found one on the ground. I don't know how it unearthed itself, but it was found on the ground. Brought it home. Oh God, that man was in a hurry and beeline to drop it back off where it came from. The problem with haunted objects is, I think, it's hard to control the energy.
Yes.
If they're truly haunted, just putting them in a corner somewhere probably ain't gonna cut it. No. I had. At one time in my possession, I had a guy gave me a couple of German World War II helmets. One had a round that came through the front of it, and the leather strap on the inside still had blood on it, where this guy took a sniper round from a U.S. soldier. Now, they thought it was harmless, so I whip out a K2 meter. Not harmless, loaded with energy, loaded. Just again, be careful. That's why antique stores, in my mind, are some of the most active locations I've ever been to. They just are. You can get in there, and the first thing you could ask one of them, if they're honest with them, hey, does anything kind of around here move, make noise? Oh yeah, all the time. So what stuff have you brought home for an investigation?
What? Sorry?
What stuff have you brought home from the investigation?
I try not to bring stuff home, not gonna lie. Just my own stuff. No, I have a haunted painting. I have a few haunted objects, actually. And it's important, guys. We talk about this stuff. We are seasoned vets in terms of paranormal activity. And witness to haunted objects and stuff like that. For me, I don't like to keep them or have them in my home simply because it affects other members of my family. But it's important that you know what you're getting into. It's very important because sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for.
Now, Anthony asks, Katie, do you have a doorway or a window that your messaging energy comes in from? Yeah,
okay, so I do. Okay, I think what he means, I think what you're meaning, Anthony, is like how I download information. So what I tell people is I'm clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, clairconscient, and empathic. Those are my antennas. That's how I receive or download information. So I get them in different ways. Sometimes I see, smell. Clairaudient is hearing, clairsentient is smelling, clairvoyant is seeing, clairconscient is the act of knowing, the all-knowing, and empathic means I pick up on symptoms, whether it be physical or metaphoric. So I download in different forms. Sometimes I can pick up an object and I will be able to feel the download from the energy I'm holding. Sometimes I can do divination through scrying. So I look at things like a mirror or water or a picture, an image. A lot of times when I do readings for people, I'll ask them to hold send me a picture. And I need to see the individual's eyes, whether they're dead or living, animal or human. And I can tap into that frequency, that energy, and I can get a download that way. So it just depends on the situation. When I walk into a room, if I'm at a haunted location, the first thing I do is kind of check my body. So how do I feel on a physical scale? Do I feel heavy? Do I feel sick to my stomach? Am I getting goosebumps? Do I feel like nervous? What am I feeling? And then I start to get the downloads. What about you, Richard?
Yeah, mine are weird. It depends. And I'm one of those kind of people, when I have to go from being a medium, which is dealing with the deceased, and then go into whatever psychic ability I have, I basically have to flip a switch. I have to look forward in one direction with aid, and then I have to look backward with aid. So it's kind of like flipping a switch for me. It sounds weird, but that's just the way I call it. I'll get things that look like flashcards in my head, and I'll get what looks like video clips. I'll get audio messages. I will get, it looks like movie scenes sometimes, and it'll come out of nowhere. Most of the time, though, it's going to sound a little bit weird, I guess, for some people to understand. But like, for example, when I am doing a reading, anything that comes out of my mouth, I didn't know was coming.
That's most of the time, Richard.
Hey, shut up. I had no clue. I'm still gonna thump you right in the forehead.
You walked into that one.
Right in the forehead. Yeah, that's an assist for you. Yeah, but it's just the way it is for me. It's really kind of odd. It just comes out without really a thought. And I think, to me, that's the purest form of communication from the other side, is you don't get to think about it. It just comes out. Now, I've watched this one work. Now, she's got the Speedy Gonzalez of tongues, all right? But when she gives a reading, you need to videotape that, because you are not going to try to write it down. That is not going to happen, because all the information from her is coming through. The download is coming through so fast, and we've got to get rid of it. We got to get rid of it. We got to get rid of it, because war keeps coming. We got to get rid of it. We got to get rid of it. Now, I think that's what I'm talking about, is that you're not designed to sit and think about it. You're designed to deliver the message, deliver the message, deliver the message. You're the mail person. Yes, deliver the message.
Yeah.
And again, point coming up that I'm going to make right now is 9 times out of 10, Kate and I have talked about this before in the past, we don't remember jack shit. You can come to Ask Us, yell, remember 3 years ago when you were reading me in the laundromat? No, I really don't. I sure don't. No. And I'm sorry. And I'm not being rude. We're not being rude. But it's just, you don't. You're designed to get rid of it. And once you get rid of it, you're done. You're not designed to hold on to it. It's not for you. It's for the other person. So once you deliver that message, here you go, here's your message, you're done. You're done with it. You're not designed to keep it. We got too much crap going on metaphysically with ourselves that we cannot keep that. Cannot hold that burden, that bucket. Nope. Sure can't. Although some of us try.
Yes, and when you try, it's when you get sick. When you try to hold that stuff, when I first started doing readings for people, I did not understand the act of a conduit, of bringing the energy through and understanding that it's not my energy to hold. I actually made myself bedridden. 8 days I was sick in bed. I did not understand it. And then when I started to clear the energy, get rid of the energy, then I started to realize that it's not for me.
All right, so here's another one. Anthony says, Katie, wondering, have you seen Keystone in place that been hunting?
Don't know what you mean, my dear.
I don't either.
Can you clarify that? I don't understand. I'm just asking Anthony, can you clarify that for me? Because I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry.
And Bev says, I have spirits with me all the time. Yeah. I was actually, quick story. I was on a radio show years ago, and a lady had called in on the radio show, and I was a guest on it, and she said, well, I have a question for you. Oh, great. I'm moving to Tennessee. Congratulations. All right. Hope you like orange. And she said, I just want to know, is there anywhere that I can live that there aren't spirits? No. No, there was a guy that I knew years ago that he is a math, beautiful mind in math. And he worked for NASA. And he actually had figured out after 10 years of math, 10 years, that for every living person, there are 5 spirit bodies. 5 entities for each living person. We have 9 billion almost people in the world. Now you want to do that math? Talking about 40 billion spirits. And every day we lose how many people to the spirit world? Whoops. A lot of people. So when I hear teams go, well, I don't want to give away my spot, it's really active. Dude, I can go to the bathroom and have it be really active. I'm just saying, Okay,
but let's be honest, everybody. Let's be honest. They don't normally go to the bathroom with you. You don't have to worry about that.
I've never been alone in any haunted location. Any venue I have ever been in, I have never been in the bathroom alone. Never.
I know, but what I'm saying is they don't like, oh, she or he's going to the bathroom. Like, it's not like they're like tracking you to find. They're not looking for you. They're not waiting in the bathroom.
I have been standing up in the urinal and been tapped on the shoulder enough times to know I'm not going alone.
Wow, that's a whole other episode, everyone. That's a whole other episode.
Yeah, so I mean, I've had a couple of female investigators feel exactly the same way. They just like to mess with you in the bathroom. Let me see here. Oof, Lord. Anthony said doorway that open portal. You said, Katie, it's the key that opened my closed portals. He's talking about keys that open and closed portals.
Oh, I understand. Okay, so you're talking about. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so you understand that now? You understand the question now?
So he's asking about where I go to open and close portals. Like, what's the key to open and close them?
Yeah.
Okay, so number one, you shouldn't try to open and close a portal. You shouldn't try to open one. Portals are not necessary. Portals can be open, but 9 times out of 10, they're already open. Okay. Portals are basically doorways to other dimensions, doorways to the other side. They can be almost like black holes to certain locations. So an entity can use it to go from England to the US or Canada or, like across the world and stuff like that, essentially. And it's just basically, it saves time on this scale. I would not encourage anybody to open portals. I wouldn't. I would not promote that because you're opening Pandora's box. I have dealt with open portals in terms of the doorways. Sometimes, for example, a mirror can be a portal. It can be things. It's a one-way street, only things are going out of it. Sometimes it can be a two-way street, things are going in and out of it. Sometimes it can just be in, sometimes it could just be out. It just depends on what you're dealing with. Doorways, ley lines, all of that can certainly be keys to portals. So it's really important. I talked about Buck Hill earlier in the episode, and we really feel that that's a vortex or a portal. It's an energy field, and it's a thinning in the veil that entities can come in and out, and we always have different experiences there. It's never the same.
Well, I know we kind of get off the haunted object out in here, but I have one more thing I want to address. Marilyn said I agree. Don't open one. Don't mess with the board or Ouija board. So let me just kind of give you my 2 cents on that. I have no real issue with the board. I have no real issue with the planchette. Ooh, there's a French word. There we go. What I have a problem with is that the conjuring that happens to open the portal that doesn't ever get closed.
Right.
Okay. So when I had my show a number of years ago, I was working with somebody that said, "Well, why don't we do a Ouija board session on show?" No. Why not? Well, my demographic was 15 to 40 or 15 to 59 was my demographic. So let's say a 15-year-old goes, "Man, I can go to Toys R Us." Back then, you could go to Toys R Us in the U.S. and you can buy a Ouija board right over the counter, $9.95. They go home, they go, "Man, I saw them do this on a Haunted Traveler show." And they go and they start lighting up and conjuring spirits to come into the house. Now, guess what? They forgot to close it. So now, guess what? Now we're getting calls from parents going, "Oh my God, my house is active. It's crazy. It's nuts." All because we put a wrong idea in the kid's head. I don't have a challenge with it, but just learn how to close the portal first before you open it.
Absolutely.
Just do that.
Yeah. Now to dial this back to reincarnation a little bit in haunted objects, there is a link. When we reincarnate, our bodies have our souls have a yearning to be together. And that can actually yearn to go back to places that we once lived and handle objects that we once held. There's stories out there of people going to different locations and they know exactly what the layout of the land, the layout of the location, the house, or there's stories of people knowing how to operate machinery. So, for example, a child can get into a backhoe and start operating it, and they've never been on it before. And this is when the trigger happens, where the memories come back, and they're able to remember that they were maybe perhaps killed on that machinery, or killed on that farm, or killed in that airplane. And a lot of this residual energy or energy that was put into that object stays. And so as a psychic medium going into that, we are literally tapping into timelines. We're tapping into the history of what occurred at that time. It's not like it's necessarily, I'll use my cup. So it's not like the energy is just hovering around and just staying there because it's attuned to the cup. It's literally been imprinted to it. And when I go and pick it up, or I walk into that room, that location, I'm picking up on the past as it's happening. So, it's really hard to break time down into this earth span because time is only what we perceive here. As a psychic medium going into something, sometimes we're picking up that, past events rather than futuristic events. And it's hard to differentiate that just because there's no such thing as time, really.
All right. Very true. Time only exists for our benefit. All right. So then Stephen says, during a guided meditation, I felt a jolt in my chest near the end of the session, almost like a falling sensation. What is this?
Okay, so meditation. Meditation is when if anybody tells you meditation is not thinking, they're lying, okay? Because meditation, the act of not thinking is thinking of not thinking. So basically what you do is you go through a process of you allow your body to kind of weed out the stuff that no longer serves you, and then you get to a moment of stillness, and then you start to be able to download and receive messages. I think, Stephen, in your case, what was happening was you were at a point where you were heightening your vibrational frequency and it was coming back down. So I really explain it when we go through an ascension process, when we start to develop our psychic abilities or tap into our abilities. For those of you, I don't know, we can talk about a bicycle. Okay, so a bicycle or a standard car. In it, with an automatic bicycle or an automatic car, the gears, the transmission changes for you. Okay, you're not, as the driver, changing the gears. But as you're in a standard, car or bicycle, you have to tell the gears when it's time to shift. And so basically our bodies are like a standard vehicle or car, and it's waiting for us to go, okay, how do we change? We got upper vibration or lower vibration. And it starts to physically short out. Okay, we may have you may start to have anxiety. You may start to feel tingling sensations over your body. You may have tired moments. You may experience what you were experiencing during meditation. And that's because your body and spirit consciousness is not quite aligned, and it's getting attuned. It's getting into that alignment. Sometimes people have cold symptoms. Sometimes people experience, an overwhelming sensation where they have these panic attacks, anxiety attacks. That's all your body leveling out. You have to be patient. I encourage you to absorb the information, absorb those moments. Don't try to fight the anxiety attacks, because it only makes it worse. But I think that's what you're experiencing.
Right. Now, Adam says, if you have a haunted object and you want to get rid of it ASAP, what should you do with it? Just give it to Katie. No, no, I would tell you, wherever you got it from, bring it back. Yeah, bring it back. Wherever you got it from, bring it back. Most oftentimes, activity I've seen has kicked up because the item is displaced and the energy is not good with it. So it's better that it's been brought back, or it gets brought back to where it came from, than anything else. If not, you can try to cleanse the item yourself. That may help, but I would rather want to reconnect the item with the place where it belongs. That would be the best way to do it. If not, again, you can cleanse it like you can cleanse anything else and get it wiped out.
And I would also, I would really kind of question, because it's deeper than even just getting the haunted item. Why is it in your possession? Why? What are you supposed to learn from this? There's a bigger cosmic learning lesson in this. It's not just simply you receive this item. Everybody comes into your life for an absolute perfect reason. We just don't know why, and that goes for the object as well. Maybe perhaps that, in a divine sense, that object is supposed to be taking you to a direction to help people. So if you were to just burn the object, you're losing the opportunity to meet the next person you're supposed to meet. Everything happens for a reason. I would not encourage you to just burn it, bury it, throw it in the garbage. And if you feel it's haunted, if you don't know paranormal, I would not encourage you to try to open conversation with it, because that's when the attachment occurs. I would encourage you to take it to somebody professional, so a psychic medium, a reputable individual paranormal investigator that can actually do some tests on it, can do some downloads off of it, and see what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Absolutely, good answer. Appreciate you doing that. Francine said, do you, Richard, or Katie notice any difference in your work when there's a full moon?
My claws come out. No, I'm kidding.
Where it actually, for me, gets a little more overt is when we're in May or October. When the veils are thinnest is when we seem to be the most active. As a team. I seem to be more active as a psychic medium at those points too. So now we're in October, right? So we're in the spooky season. Well, we're also in the season where the veil is extraordinarily thin. So there's actually more activity. It's just one of those things. The veil gets thinner, they get more of an opportunity to engage the living, and they will. But again, just do yourself a favor. Be careful. Full moon's got real effect on people. The gravitational pull and everything else has got a real difference maker on some people.
Yeah. Can you pull up that question by Herbie?
Question about his mother?
No, it says, I believe that people make some items more powerful with the belief that it empowers it. Does this sound plausible? Absolutely, Herbie. Absolutely.
I found that question.
It depends on what you have to bring to the table. So, think of crystals. Okay, so we'll talk about crystals. Okay, each crystal has a vibrational frequency. Okay, this cup has my vibrational frequency to it. If I'm having a bad day, it absorbs it. Usually crystals give off a vibration, but they will absorb to a certain degree, but they give off more than they absorb. And there's certain ones that give in and give out. But think of this cup. It's absorbing me. It's got the essence of Katie in it. If I'm had a really bad day and I'm a moody Judy, okay, and nothing against any Judys, but I'm a moody Judy, that moody Judy vibe is going to, Juju is going to go into that cup, and the next person picking it up may be having a bad day, and it's going to amplify their bad day, okay?
Moody Judy.
Moody Judy. So it really depends on, are you laughing at me?
Yes.
It really depends on what you're dealing with. If it's a high vibration, then it may resonate differently. But I want to clarify something about vibrations too. When Richard and I talk about high and low vibrations, we're not talking about high as in happy and low as in sad. Okay. We're vibrational frequencies, a high vibration. So somebody may have anxiety and they're tweaking, or they're upset, or they're running around. They're very, very quick. That is not a high vibration. That's a low vibration. High vibration is being confident, feeling good in your skin, being happy. That is a high vibration. A low vibration isn't necessarily like, how would you describe it? It wouldn't necessarily be just sadness, but it's negativity, okay? Or feeling like you're the depression, the pulling down, the tired, the not feeling good, the sickness. That's more of a low vibration. So people think when you're calm, you're low. It's really not. When you're calm, you're at that heightened vibration. Yeah.
It's kind of like bass and treble, guys. It really is.
Good analogy.
Huh?
I said good analogy.
So it's kind of, I'm an EVP guy. I probably will be to the day I die and start creating my own EVPs. But anyway, to me, it's that way. You can hear a negative or low vibrational spirit or entity speak. Because they really can't speak, right? They can operate the vibrations to make a sound. But even then, if they do and they are dark, you'll hear it. You'll hear it in the explanation or the answer they're giving you. It's just similarly to a regular dead person, a spirit, an entity of somebody who means no harm at all, just wants to engage. They're going to sound completely different because of the vibration and how they're operating with their vibration, placing their tones. That's going to be the difference maker too. But the best thing to do is, if you feel you're working in that, we talked about it before, get off your socks and shoes, go by some running water, and go stand on the ground. Give yourself a good 20 minutes worth of ground neutralizing and normalcy, and see how that goes. Now, George says, can you cleanse objects from an antique shop? And then how? Yes.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. What I have done is, the trick I've done with it is I set it outside in the sun. And then I will sage it. I will wipe it down with vinegar water. I will do a lot of things. Vinegar water is used to be able to wipe away what I call paranormal sludge. It's negative energy that kind of it's kind of a hanger-oner type of energy. Not that it actually can manifest itself in anything possibly, but it's there. It's the same reason why I tell people to take salt baths. So I would wipe it down with vinegar water. Sage it, leave it out in the sun. That's just, I charge my stones that way, leave it out in the sun. That's honestly too how you help cleanse an item from a location that's haunted. Let me see. Hey Jeff. Wow, we have a lot. Yeah, I wasn't really big on crystals or stones or anything.
Jeff.
Until I met this lady here. And then we even have a mutual friend that got me hooked into a Super 7 stone. And then I went ahead and got Super 7 stones as necklaces for 3 members of my team. Mm-hmm. Just because it really makes sense. Moody Judy. See, Nadine thought that was funny too.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Nadine. Moody Judy.
Anthony said I used crystals that hold positive energy, or if I feel like I need a boost of an energy. I tell you, that Super 7 stone went in my pocket, never left. I get up in the morning, it goes right in my pocket. I go anywhere, it's in my pocket. It beat the living tar out of my keychain, but I don't care.
It's really important. And we're gonna do a whole. So we're gonna have a really great guest come on. He's a crystal guru, and he knows his stuff. I'm not gonna name names until we put the. We wanted to say surprise, but he is going to be coming on the show, and he's going to be explaining a lot. He knows a million times more than I do about crystals, and Richard, and so he's gonna be the guy. He's gonna explain that stuff. So we're excited to have him. It's gonna be good.
That show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Francine said, please do a crystal session.
Absolutely, darling. We will.
Dean, if you go and you type in what it is, it's a culmination of 7 different stones. Okay, and they all have different properties. They all have different jobs, as I call it. Okay, so if you go to eBay, for example, which is where I got mine, you can go to eBay and type in Super 7 stone necklace. A bazillion will come up. It's actually not as rare as anyone would think. It's pretty popular stone.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I wonder, has anyone removed spirit tag from a spirit that was draining a person of their energy? Well, those were attachments in my book. I've removed a lot of attachments from people and directed them on how to remove them from themselves. So, yeah, I mean that'll wipe a person out. So yeah, we've done it before. Nadine said she's excited for the crystal guru.
So I just brought up the Super 7 just so people know. So it's got amethyst, Keiko's Night, clear quartz, diathite, lepidocrocite, rutile, and smoky quartz. And I probably totally ruined those names, but that's the smart words. That's what that's made of. If anybody wants to know, that's what that is.
Those are smart words. Those are $5 words that we just don't have a handle on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a $5 word, as Richard says.
Yeah, $5 words. But I bought a Super 7 stone necklace for 3 members of my team because, and I gave another one to a team member's wife that's come out with us a couple of times, and I have mine, and you have to have some. This is one of those things again where you have to have some conviction behind it. Okay, you have to understand what the principles and the what is actually designed to have happen when you have a Super 7 stone. It's not going to be the end all be all. It's not designed to be. It is designed to help with certain things. So look at it. It's a fairly inexpensive stone on eBay compared to some, especially when it has amethyst in it and everything else. But I would get a bigger chunk of stone, not a littler piece. Bigger stone, I believe, more abilities. That's just bigger, better. Right. That's the way I look at it. But I would tell you that's what I would do. You can get a hunk of stone like Katie just had. She showed you on screen, and that's what I've got. I've just got a hunk of Super 7 stone.
Be careful when you're researching stones, as Richard said, getting big hunks of stones, depending on the stone. If you're getting into tektites, and this guru will get into it, but they're very powerful. And so the bigger the tektite sometimes is a little too overwhelming. I'm talking about moldavite and so on. So, as a Super 7, Richard's absolutely right. Get into a bigger stone because it's going to help you. Like, it's what you can carry, right? What you can carry with you. I always have crystals to a certain degree with me at all times, in my purse, in my car, in my, my kids are going, Mom, and they're trying to move the rocks, because I have them everywhere, and it really does help.
Yeah, I know it does. I fully believe it myself. My gosh, we're almost out of time again.
I know. We're having fun.
Yeah, good God. But yeah, I think we're going to try to do that. Again, guys, next week, for those of you that were here this in the beginning of this show, why not? We're going to not be available next weekend. We are not going to be here. I have a wedding to attend. My paranormal son is getting married, and I'm going to be there. And we will miss next week's show, so we apologize in advance, but we're letting you know as quick as we can.
But let's talk about the next episode. What really quickly? What are we getting into the next episode? So November 6th.
You're the director of this thing right now. I don't know.
Sir Brian Bowden is going to be joining us, and he is a cryptid UFO USO. He is a guru. He's another guru. He is somebody who knows UFOs inside and out, and he knows about Bigfoot. He knows about all sorts of stuff. So a lot of the conspiracy theories. So we are going to be getting the infamous Brian Bowden in our studio, which is I'm really excited. He knows what he's talking about, so it's going to be good. So that's November the 6th. That's coming up, everybody. Again, not next week, but the weekend after. The following Sunday, he will be with us, hanging out for the whole 90 minutes. You got to check it out.
Backing him up on the 13th, I think we've got Jeremy from 28 Days Haunted, the new Netflix show, which I've heard is hot. I've got to get a chance to see it. But Jeremy is going to be on the show. He's in the show. Him and another friend of the show's, Shane Pittman is on that show as well, and Jeremy Leonard is one of the folks on one of the teams on that show. It's a really wild concept. Have you heard much about it?
You know what, I've heard in the wind. I've heard in the wind that it's going to be a live show, which is kind of exciting, or filmed on site. So that's really cool.
A little crazy. So we're gonna have Brian Bowman, then we're gonna have Jeremy Leonard. Then we're going to try to squeeze Tim in there somewhere.
Yeah, and the Crystal Guru, Greg, the Crystal Guru. Greg's going to be coming too. That's another one.
Do we have enough time for these people?
I don't know. And I've still got people that are wanting to be part of the show. I still got some more people that are, asking about it. So, yeah, I'm excited. Guys, if there's anybody or any subject matter that you want to hear about, that you want us to clear on here, you want to talk about it, you want to ask about it, don't hesitate. Message us. Send us a message to Let's Talk About It, the Facebook page. You can private message me, private message Richard. We will get back to you. But if there's something you want to know, please. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah. No, to me, it's just it's a lot of fun coming up with topics. Also will wear you out as well. But yeah, no, it's a good time. Astrology. I don't know. Francine, that is absolutely not in my wheelhouse. Astrology.
Not mine either. I'm an Aquarius. That's as far as I go.
I'm a Gemini. It usually means I scare people.
Yeah, but we will get somebody. You know what? That's an awesome topic. We'll get somebody in. We'll start to do the research. We'll find some pretty cool cats that can come in and maybe help us out. Explain that. What do you think? Help us out.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there with a comment. Nadine says the concept of the show that takes 28 days to do complete investigation like a cycle. It's great. Cannot wait to ask Jeremy questions. Yeah. Jeremy actually has been on this show as a co-host a couple of times. Back when Miss Katie was sick. Last year. And,
which time?
Yeah, the first time. First time we almost lost it. But
I'm still here.
Still here.
Katie 3, COVID 0. I'm still here, everybody.
Yeah, I'm still here. That must mean God's not done with me pissing people off yet. That's the way I look at it. But again, too, we will also be, my team again will be finishing up filming for the documentary, Finding Purgatory. And that ought to be interesting. We do appreciate in advance. I do thank you all for your support on that. We've got a lot of things going on. What do you have going on? You got a lot going on too. What do you got going
on? So I'm going to be doing, I cannot talk about it. I can't give the name out right now, but this week I will be, confidentiality, I will be doing another podcast, a local radio and podcast. So that's going to be pretty cool. When it can be released, I will let you guys know. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'm trying to think, oh my gosh, besides investigations and readings, like I can't think. I'm drawing a blank. That's this week, anyways. That's this week.
Yeah, I actually have to bring in my social entertainment director to find out what my schedule is, because we have the filming, and then we have this, and then we have that, and then we have, like, I can't keep up.
It just doesn't end. I hear you.
Nope, kind of crazy. But yeah, there's going to be an interesting lineup of shows we got, guys. We're going to be doing a thing where we're doing 3 months worth of shows, and then we're taking a month off, and that's going to be kind of how we do it, because yeah, we have lives.
We gotta
Yeah, we gotta catch up on our lives. So we're looking forward to more shows coming up. We have a lot planned, a lot of guest appearances planned. We may be pulling in some teams of people as well that we've worked with, or would like to work with, or would like to work with on the show as well. We're gonna have a lot going on, and we appreciate y'all supporting, coming out and sharing the show. Hey, Amanda, we appreciate that, and we sincerely do. If you guys are willing to like and share this show, we'd love to have you do that for us. Get it to somebody who really could use the information. That's really what it is information sharing, and that's what we like to try to hope to do for people, is just share the wealth.
Herbie said quickly, just a question: have you both done an investigation together? Yes and no.
Kinda. Yeah, kinda. Katie is in Canada, and she has been locked away in that country. What?
I said sorry.
Sorry. She's been locked away there, and they wouldn't allow people to fly out. They still probably won't, will they? Are they allowing you to fly out now?
Yes, you can fly out now. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, our president here in the U.S. has said there's no more pandemic. Anyway, I just had somebody, Cindy Kaza. We know Cindy Kaza.
Yeah.
She just got diagnosed with COVID. So it's still out there. It's still playing games with people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's,
what they say, 4th time's a charm. There's Jeremy himself. There's Jeremy coming into the chat himself. Jer, we were just talking about you, buddy. We're so excited to have you coming on the show. In a couple weeks, he's going to be coming on, guys. He's going to be explaining so much about the new TV show that he's doing. We cannot wait to hang out with you, Jeremy. So
yeah, man,
it's going to be a good one.
I really want to hear about it. I'm actually going to be getting, Jeremy, just for you. I'm going to be getting a Netflix subscription just for you.
Oh, I already have one.
Oh, be quiet. You're not helping me at all. Thanks. But Jeremy, hope you're doing well, dude. From what I've seen so far, I love the show. I'm glad you're on it. Glad you had that opportunity as well. It's crazy. But I'm glad you had that opportunity as well. So guys, we're gonna go ahead and kick it about a minute and a half early. We're gonna go ahead and kick it out. Again, there will not be a show this Sunday coming. One of us going to be at a wedding. My paranormal son.
I can't even do it.
Paranormal son is going to be getting married. God love him. I'm not real big on being institutionalized.
Clearly. Yes, Jeremy says yes. I will. 28 Days Haunted is number 5 in the Netflix top 10 in the U.S. and the UK. Woo! Way to go, Jeremy. We're so excited. We can't wait. Everybody tune in. Go to Netflix. Check it out. Go to YouTube. Watch the trailers. It is worth the watch.
Yeah, no, it's been great to do. You can see a lot of the stuff on Facebook too. They got little tributes, little vignettes and things like that on there too, I believe. And not only Jeremy, like I said, another friend of the show, Shane Pittman's on there too. Yep. And I'm going to get wrapped up in it pretty good, I believe. Yeah, Robin said it popped on my list today, so I was going to watch it. I'm telling you, it's one of the few things you'll hear this guy ever promote on Paranormal Entertainment.
Yep.
One of the very few. Very few. Because some of the stuff I did is garbage. I'll tell you. Not good. Tara, have a good night. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks, guys.
Well, as I say, don't think on your own. Not seeking the unknown can leave you wandering and rationalizing that. What? Okay.
Well, guys,
Don't know what that is.
we'll have to see.
Yeah, we're good. All right, guys. Well, have a good night. We will talk to you soon. Take care of yourselves and each other, please.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.